Welcome to the Accelerated HVAC Success Program. Since the beginning of time, man has dreamed about breaking the bounds of gravity and experiencing the freedom of the air. I will never forget the first time that I soloed in an aircraft and the profound sense of freedom as I escaped the pull of the Earth's gravity. It was similar to the relief you experience when you are no longer pulled down with the business demands and priorities determined by someone else. To me, business and aviation have a lot of similarities. First, the appeal or romanticism of flight and entrepreneurship are similar. Both provide a pursuit of freedom and adventure. In aviation, you can feel free from gravity's pull along with the demands of daily life as you fly higher. When in flight, you are a master of your destiny. In entrepreneurship, it's much the same. You set the direction to navigate your future. This gives you the ability to choose your destiny, which is rather exciting. Some of the reasons entrepreneurs go into business are the creation of more wealth, discovering more time to do the things that are important to you, and more freedom from those things that tend to prevent us from achieving our dreams and aspirations. During the first segment of the Accelerated HVAC Success Program, we'll introduce you to 6 HVAC companies. The owners are like many of you. They too decided to embark on an adventure by going into business for themselves. So let's start by taking a look at the challenges that each of them face and what's preventing them from realizing their dreams and aspirations.
Woohoo! First of all, we are so happy to be here today. Yay! We are very excited to be here with you today and welcome All Valley Air into the HVAC Accelerator Program. You guys, this is going to be a wild ride. You guys have a full 6 months with some of the best coaches and vendors that are on the planet to help you guys get every inch of your business squared away in the black, ready to rock and roll and make some money.
We're definitely ready. Thanks so much.
Fantastic. We are really excited. I've got some of our crew. You guys are going to have different interactions with, and I know you're not a stranger to CI Web Group. You guys are currently a client. You started with the website, and we're really excited to be able to take you guys to the next level. Our motto is what's working, do more of it. What's not, let's stop it. And what's next? And you guys, this is what's next. So we're really excited.
We're ready.
That is awesome. So you guys are going to have access to, like I said, some of the top professionals. There are 6 coaches that are going to be participating in that. And I'm not talking about just the 6 on here and the 20 you're going to have working behind the scenes on all of your projects. We want to know how all of this started. Clay, if you'll get started, let's rock and roll.
Hey, nice to see you, Amanda. Hope you guys are doing well. We are extremely excited that you're part of this Extreme Makeover HVAC edition, right? Instead of a house, it's for your business. So we just really want to kind of get to know you a little bit. First of all, why did you guys decide to go into business for yourself?
Well, basically, I've been in this business literally since I was born. My father was an HVAC contractor, and I started with him when I was approximately 6, 7 years old. Go to the construction sites and everything else. Just out of 6 children, I'm the only one that went into the business and grew up in the business. Was in that family business until about 2000, when an unfortunate divorce occurred on my part, and I pretty much, that business, I lost everything.
Right. Wow.
Went ahead for a couple of years, worked in this area, which I've been coming out here since the 1960s when my grandparents lived out here, and came out to this area pretty much to start over again.
Awesome. And where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Blythe, California, which is about 100 miles east of here, right on the Colorado River. I was born and raised there. I'm definitely country born and raised, no doubt. And like I say, I came down here, an adopted father of mine, someone who's known me since I was 6 years old, had been telling me I should be in this marketplace. It's an outstanding market. It really is. And so I came out here and worked for one other contractor for about a year. I had a contract with him just to get my feet under me, and then went to work for a company called Tribble Construction, doing all their air conditioning work. And in fact, Mr. Tribble, I did my first tract of houses in 1979 with him, 30 houses.
Wow, awesome.
Dad said, "Here, this is yours, kid, make money." So we did. But I built it that long, and Pop took good care of me and put me to work, worked me hard, and met Amanda in 2003. And I don't part very often since then. So
Awesome.
always had the intentions. I had let my corporate licenses lapse, so I had to go back in and retest and got our own licenses. And went ahead and started the business basically out of our home office in our garage at that point.
Yeah.
And what year was that?
That was in 2003 when I met Amanda.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so it's a family business, right? It's the two of you and your daughter, I believe?
And my
Yeah.
son-in-law. So yeah.
Right. Wow.
I just have to interject. You guys didn't tell us we were going to get a love story too.
Oh my goodness.
Making my eyes water.
So cool. So now that you've got the family business going, you said since 2003, so that's several years. Obviously, you've grown right over time.
Definitely.
Would you say that your dreams and aspirations today in 2020 are a little different than when you first started in 2003?
Oh, definitely. 2003, I was trying to make a living. Just pay the rent and put food on the table.
So
Now I'm looking to retire in a few years from now.
uh-huh.
We've explored some areas that we'd like to move to in the country that will be foreign to me because it's actually cool there in Montana. So I've lived in this desert my entire life. So, that what we deal with on a daily basis here is normal to me.
Got it. So do you have like a timeline? Like, do you have a 5-year, 10-year plan that you want to be snowbirds?
Well, I'm looking probably the next 3 to 4 years
Got
is
it.
what we're looking at.
Excellent. So you're setting the stage up to retire. You guys want to be snowbirds, want to only be in Palm Springs or in the desert. I'm assuming in the winter months.
When the golf is good, yes.
Awesome. So my last question, and then we'll wrap this up for week 1. Is there anything that you feel is preventing you right now from achieving what some of those goals and dreams and aspirations are in the next 3 to 4 years?
Do you see anything right now other than what we keep running into with our economy and several things? We ran through the Great Depression, if you will, which we struggled, we hung on, we scratched, clawed, and fought. I'm a survivor. I was raised that way. We don't quit.
Right.
And then we're humming along. We're doing well. I had some problems last year with an employee who's gone. He was an outside salesman, and we were rebounding from it beautifully. As COVID-19, and they shut down all the businesses. We do about 50% commercial, so you can imagine our commercial partners that we deal with. Their buildings are empty right now.
Yeah.
They're empty. So it really hit us pretty well. And but we've been fortunate with our residential. We have quite a few residential clients. Most of our fall business or spring business left because they either went home early or they were called back to their home countries.
Right.
Which we have Canadians that were absolutely they were recalled on a dime, on a dime's notice. We have one client called to say, please, maintenance my condensing units. We won't be there. My flight out is at midnight tonight. I've got to be back in Canada.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Wow. So then this program, this extreme makeover, is very timely for your business.
Yes.
Because we're going to position you so that you'll be able to not only get over this hurdle, so to speak, of COVID, but so that you can thrive, going into 2021 and beyond.
Beautiful.
So that we have that foundation laid and it's firm and it's solid for your retirement. So that when, 3-4 years from now, give or take, we're doing this again, but we're having a big party.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good to me.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for taking the time to answer those questions. for getting week one off to an excellent start.
Thank you,
Me
Clay.
too.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So what have you heard about this program, and what was it that interested you most about it?
So we were referred to this program by Jean. She's our account rep over at Goodman, and she really thought that we were a really good fit for this program, especially since we're really just kind of beginning, and we've been gaining a lot of momentum here in the past couple of months. Just for some context and some history, my dad's been in the industry for 20 so years. Previously, he was the general manager with Air Race Services, basically one of the top retails here in Texas and in Houston, especially handling the Hispanic market. So he brings with him a whole bunch years of experience, specifically in operations, and then as of lately more in sales.
Okay.
So Jean really kind of liked where we were coming from. She had she has really high expectation for us. And as we kind of kicked off, unfortunately, we kind of kicked off in the pandemic, but that really hasn't hurt us at all, which I'm slightly surprised. We actually have been surpassing our goal marks that we set ourselves for at the beginning of the year. When we first started the business, we were shooting for at least $1 million in sales revenue. We have now almost doubled that amount, and I think as of last week, we had made up to $2 million in sales to date. So we're pretty excited about that. So we're definitely carrying some really good momentum, and we want to take it to the next step. So I think Jean recognized that, and she's like, all right, great. You guys are ready to take this business to the next step. So you guys can definitely, we'll see a lot of benefit in talking to a consultant and seeing how they can kind of take us to that next step that we want to take.
Okay, well, great. So now how long have you guys been in business?
So we officially incorporated in December. So technically we officially started operations in January. So basically 8 months right now.
Wow. And so how did you, I mean, it was just primarily demand that allowed you to do 2 million within the first year, or how did you do that?
I mean, I want to say the secret ingredient is obviously there's a demand component to a lot of this, but we have put a lot of emphasis on marketing. And my dad, coming from another company and really working the industry for so many years, he's definitely been able to kind of pick up a lot of patterns or a lot of, I guess, marketing strategies that have worked really well in other companies. And we basically kind of rolled them over into Max Comfort. And when we started, we put a lot of emphasis in making sure that our brand was known in the industry, or at least among our customer segment, which is mostly Hispanic households. So we actually did a very aggressive social media campaign. Up to this day, we have a lot of exposure on TV, radio, and also a pretty good referral program. So that's been our emphasis, and I think that's really what allowed us to kind of be on the radar, especially so soon in the game.
Okay, all right. Do you have a service component to your company yet, or is it primarily replacement?
It's primary sales with the focus in all residential sales at the moment. Any service that we do is just tending to any service repairs that are coming out from our sales. If there needs to be any additional support down the road, I mean, we'll kind of like to look at the value proposition of having a service segment to our business, but it's not something we're actively pursuing. We kind of want to focus mostly on growing sales at this point in time and making sure that whatever service staff we have is to address our customer needs that we sold to.
So what are your biggest challenges right now?
So right now, probably the biggest challenges, so I can probably put them in two buckets. From a sales perspective, is we definitely want to be able to expand our exposure in social media. That's something that we have heavily invested on, but we have not really seen a good return on our advertisement that we're doing on either Google, Facebook, YouTube. So that's something we really want to strengthen. And then the other piece that we want to work on is more on the operational side. So with a lot of sales actually comes a lot of headaches. And some of these headaches are in the form of accounting and inventory management. So we're still a very small office, and we're trying to run this shop as lean as possible. But we do have a lot of back office work that we're trying to kind of get it either streamlined, automated, or maybe if there's an opportunity to outsource that to a third-party consultant. So we've been trying to evaluate some of the accounting that we're doing in-house, if we're better off just sending that to a third-party group to help us manage that. And then the other one where we're struggling slightly is in our inventory management. So those are kind of the two things that we really want to kind of focus on at this point in time.
Okay. And do you do most of the selling, or do you have people that are selling for you?
We actually have a couple of people selling for us. We do some selling as well through referrals, but a large majority of it comes through some of our sales staff. That they're the ones that either we give them the lead that has come through the television or the radio, and then they go take that lead and then that make the sales contact, the point of sales.
Okay. Are they like a commission or on your payroll?
They're fully commissioned.
So most of your sales reside within the Hispanic community, or is it pretty diverse?
No, I want to say close to 90%. And once again, that's something as we grow, I definitely want to diversify our market, and I want to be able to kind of tap into every type of household. Most of our sales are kind of in the Hispanic market just because we're doing all our marketing in local Hispanic radio stations or Hispanic TV stations. And then most of our referrals, since all the customers are Hispanic customers, they're just referring to us other Hispanic customers. But I kind of want to differentiate ourselves from the rest of our competition by kind of really diversifying our market and then being able to tap into other households and different types of households.
Well, that's certainly played into your favor for the first year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
I'm guessing that's a not a very busy street when you're primarily catering to the Hispanic community. Is that accurate?
It's accurate, and I think what's especially here in Houston and in Texas in particular, because I mean AC is a very seasonal item here in the state. And the Hispanic market has always been this niche market that has now really kind of been infiltrated by a lot of different companies.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, all right, I recognize this was a niche market a couple of years ago. It's still able to provide some decent amount of return, but I want to take it to the next step.
All right. So tell me about your install teams. How many install teams do you have right now?
Our sales team right now is made up of ¿cuánto tenemos?
20% de negocio.
No, o sea, el número de vendedores que tenemos.
En ese momento solamente uno. Bueno, iban uno, ponle unos dos.
No, el número de vendedores.
En total aquí nosotros 10 vendedores.
So we have a total of 10.
10? Okay, so is that equates to 5 crews or?
Oh, I'm sorry. Our techs, ¿cuántos cuadrillas tenemos? 5. Pero ¿cuántas oficiales para la compañía?
Sí, son 3 que son permanentes. Sí,
so we have 3 permanent crews and then 2 that are more on an ad hoc basis.
Temporary.
Kind of more on a temp basis.
Okay. All right. As needed. Now the 10, what was that number represent?
Oh, that 10 is just the number of sales specialists or sales accountants that we have. Just the number of salespeople that we have.
You have 10 salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are your biggest concerns or threats right now, do you think?
So probably our biggest concern is, besides those 2 that I highlighted, it's actually being able to get enough of our technicians to houses on time. So I guess we're struggling in scheduling. especially during summer, since activity does pick up, we tend to, our sales tend to outpace the rate of our installations. So that's always been a concern, where we don't want to be dropping quality just because of the number of sales that we're executing. And then the other thing that we'll like to maybe improve on, and this is kind of maybe slightly out of our control, is that we do provide a lot of financing options through third-party entities like Synchrony, Green Sky, and Interbank. So we do provide a lot of flexibility to our customers on how to manage their payments. However, when we do resort to a third-party financing company, they do charge a very high dealer fee that we're trying to kind of negotiate to a lower rate.
Okay, that's with your second look.
Yeah, we do. So our first look are going to be Synchrony and Green Sky. And then our second look options are going to be Mycroft, and then ¿cuáles son las otras? Turns, and then Castle,
New Spring.
and then New Spring.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, hopefully, we want to see ourselves beyond Houston. We have very ambitious goal for our business. We started here in Houston, but we definitely want to, I mean, I know it sounds a little bit exaggerated, but we want to be a national brand and have our presence in cities like Austin, Dallas, San Antonio. So basically increase our foothold across the state, and who knows, maybe even into other states. So that's one goal that we have. And then the other goal is that we want to be able to be making $5 million in sales every year, and at least have a target of either 2% to 5% of growth in the next couple of years.
Do you have any type of a plan to how to do that, or is right now it's just that's your goal?
That's our goal. We haven't really kind of formalized a business plan on how to kind of our 5-year outlook of what that'll look like. I think we'll have a better understanding of what that'll look like at year end, once we can kind of take a step back and digest what we did in the past year. But it's something that we want to kind of work on. It's building on what our 5-year plan looks like.
Okay. Are you using any software at all for your accounting to account for the 1099s, like QuickBooks or anything like that?
Yeah, right now we're doing everything through QuickBooks. I forgot which version we have. I'll double check, but we are able to run payroll through QuickBooks. And then I think we can generate a couple of additional things there as well.
All right. Are you on a accrual or a cash?
We are slowly, I'm telling my accountant that I want to move over into accrual-based accounting. We were trying to do everything on a cash basis, but it gets a little bit difficult, especially since some of our third-party financing companies can take up to a couple of weeks to basically send the money over. And then at the same time, I do want to carry an accrual book more for the accounts payable piece that we carry over with Goodman and our other manufacturers.
Your financing companies that you use are taking a couple of weeks to fund the install?
The second look ones, like I know Turns, and one of our biggest problems that we had with Turns, especially when the pandemic started to kind of take a foothold, is that they actually pre-approve our clients, and then we went through the approval process, and then they dropped it. So those are a couple of cases that we're trying to work with kind of the financing company to kind of, hey, you guys approved us. We need you guys to give us the funding. So our things like that are, I mean, not all our customers we're struggling, but there's a couple, especially like the low credit score customers, that some of our second look financing companies have kind of taking a second approach. So that's something that we do have some difficulties on.
Yeah, that kind of throws everything off kilter, doesn't that, with your payables getting out of line, waiting for the money to come in for that job and everything else. Wow.
And
Okay.
then there's been probably 3 or 4 where turns have completely declined them, and we already made the installation, we already made the sales, and we actually have had to take in that in-house. Obviously, we're not financing, but we have had to put those customers on a payment plan. And I think one of them basically says, hit the high road, I'm not paying anything. So it's things like that that we want to be very careful. Because one thing I do say with the Hispanic market is that they're a great market to work with, but some of them have not so good credit worthiness. So those are the ones that we want to be very careful on what type of credit line we want to extend.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got, I have a little bit of experience in that arena too. So it's going to be fun to get to wrap around our arms around those things. Those are the type of things that'll keep you up at night, especially if you're not sure where things are. Okay. What other questions, observations, challenges operationally are you faced with right now that that we haven't talked about?
One thing that I do want to bring up is obviously that we're doing everything through QuickBooks right now. I actually have kind of digitized our company because some of us are working remotely or have given some flexibility to do so. And that's mostly for our administrative stuff that's in the office. So what we've been trying to do is we've been trying to kind of migrate everything into a Microsoft 365 environment, which if you ever need to look at our data, or just be able to access some of our files, we had streamlined that process so that we can share it via SharePoint site or anything along those lines.
Have you already purchased the 365?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got it. We have it right now.
Okay, all right. Because you may want to compare that to, well, you've already got it, so that's a good program. So.
And to tell the truth, we actually started with G Suite. And right now we still have our email hosted through Google. We want to transition that over to Microsoft, just because we have a lot of Excel workbooks that are in Excel.
Right.
So I feel like it'll naturally align if we just incorporate everything as a Microsoft product.
Well, that'll get you to the point where you can justify an operating system. So that's good. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of them out there. But right now, as far as a scheduling system, I'm guessing you're just using a hybrid something that you have right now, right?
Yeah, we're doing right now. The head of our technical crew is doing most of the scheduling through Google Calendar at this point in time.
Okay, fair enough. And those are the contract installers, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Actually, the head of our technical crew, so kind of like the head of operations, he is a salary-based employee.
Okay.
So he's the one that manages all the crews. That between him and my dad.
You mean your dad, your father isn't doing this just for fun?
Well, he's doing it for fun. I think he's having too much fun sometimes, and a couple of headaches. But yeah, no, my dad, he is 67. 66. Oh, hold on, I'm insulting him right now.
I never would have thought he was a year over 65.
But he sometimes behaves younger than I do, so I'm like, all right, Dad, give me some energy over here.
He could probably work circles around you too, I'll bet.
Dile que la biológica son 50, sí.
He says that his biological age is actually 50.
Yeah, well, I'm right there with you, my friend. That's for sure. Okay, I think what I'm going to suggest, and I don't want to invest a whole lot of time in this because it sounds like you guys are on the go. But let's get you to a point where you're comfortable that you're increasing your cash spread. every day. I can send you some documents on how to do that. So at least we'll know at the beginning of the month what your reoccurring bills are, how much cash is in the bank, and we have a beginning entry to see if you're increasing or decreasing cash. That visibility right there is going to save you a lot of heartaches, okay? And if you can track that cash and the cash spread, that one thing will alert you is if there's something wrong, okay? With the money coming in. So that's number one. It's real super easy to do. Manual, you don't need an Excel sheet. It's a piece of paper. It's old school. I hope you know how to use a calculator and a pencil. But it's just an entry.
My dad swears by calculator. He anytime I open up an Excel workbook, I don't want to do that right now.
Okay. All right. So it's just a journal entry every morning, and I'll send you information on that. Once we see where you are as far as your cash position, because you're basically, as I'm understanding, flying blind right now as far as cash and profits. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's an accurate statement.
Okay, so we can put some visibility to that right away. Okay, and to see if anything needs to be adjusted. And then the next step to that is just wait, I guess, for your accountant to get the profit and loss statement in, and then we'll just do a quick assessment. In fact, we may want to choose to do that a little bit earlier, but I want to give you some control and visibility on the business side of it as soon as possible.
Okay.
Especially when you're busy, because you can, if it slows down, I mean, boom, everything turns off, and you're robbing Peter to pay Paul and not knowing it, you can find yourself in trouble real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've experienced that, and it's not a fun thing to experience. So we'll want to get you set up right now, so if there is any challenges, we can have enough time to overcome that and get you moving in the right direction. All right.
Okay.
Your father has a ton of experience, knows what he's doing, which is great. You have a sales team that's out on a commission basis making sales. You have I-9 installers that are out there installing. You fixed your labor. You fixed your commission structure. Fantastic, man. You've adopted some very healthy processes right off the bat. So that's kudos. It's fantastic. The only challenges may be slow pay for high risk financing and in-house financing as well. Those two things I see. Hopefully there's not a lot of that, but I see those two items being a potential threat. Okay, depending upon how your cash position is. So, and once we see where your cash position is, we'll evaluate. You may want to make some different decisions. We don't know yet when it comes to the high risk, slow pay type of business. All right. So we'll get you, and that your goal, 5-year goal, is to expand operations and replicate in different areas. And when we get this set up right, there's 2 or 3 different strategies you can do to make that happen. So that's it's going to be an exciting journey.
No, we're excited. It's gonna a lot of things we're gonna learn throughout this process.
Both of us will. I learn more than my clients do most of the time. So this is going to be a lot of fun. But it was a pleasure meeting you guys. I'll send that information over to you. And again, anytime, feel free to reach out and touch base if you have any questions or anything. Okay?
Sounds good, Tom. We'll stay in touch then.
Where you're at today, tell me a little bit about a history of BLR. I know that, Byron, you were a contractor, then you went into some weatherization in 2008. At least that's what it says on your website.
It does.
Annie answers the phone, or it goes through House Call Pro, and then you run the calls, right?
She runs the calling and everything. All I do is the work. So I just go make things work and put stuff in.
Yeah, he does really not much at all.
Yeah.
No, I put about 2 hours a day in of sleep. The rest of it's work.
Oh.
All right. So you spend So it spend a lot of time out in the field. So
Yeah.
So right now would you say it's pretty much the two of you and then any subcontractors or?
No, it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
And we have one employee.
Okay. Is that employee a technician or?
He is a full-time helper in training for
Yeah.
everything.
He's just learning. So
He's pretty green, so.
All right. So he's your apprentice at this point.
we just pay him to be his friend, really.
Byron just needs a friend. Okay.
He just needs a friend. He just needs someone to, pull him out when he's really angry.
Yep. Yeah.
He's just a good comedic relief, really.
Where would you like to see it grow? What would you, if everything aligned perfect and money was no object, what would it look like for BLR? I mean, meaning go ahead.
I want to have another guy in a service truck out beginning of next year. That's what I would like. I mean, of course that's short term, but that's what I want is service. I need to hire somebody that has service experience and troubleshooting.
Yeah.
So I don't have to do it all.
So, because right now, pretty much you run every call, you do all the install, you do it all. So,
Yes.
Okay. So possibly another service technician that can troubleshoot. What about long term? Like if I said 3 to 5 years, what is it possible that BLR could look like?
4 or 5 guys, maybe 2-3 trucks.
So, sometimes I've worked with huge contractors, Parker and Sons at, 100 trucks. I mean, crazy. And I work with some contractors that, are 3 to 5 trucks. And they're very, very, very content in that nice little sweet spot. And then there's some people that say, well, that's not enough. I want it to be huge. I want it to be $100 million company. And that's okay as well. Just a lot more structure and much more headaches, but so what would it look like? I mean, you're in a great area north of Salt Lake City. I mean, you pretty much could own that entire area at the city that you're in. I mean, is 3 to 5 trucks, is that what you're looking for? Or what would you, I don't want to paint you in a box.
We don't really have, I wouldn't say, I as long as we can manage it, there's no option really. I mean, this is what we have to have. The only thing I want to be able to manage what we have. That's my worry. I don't want to grow too fast. I don't want to, and then feel out of control in 2 years because we have 10 trucks and, no one's trained properly and no one is, we don't have our procedures put in place. That's my concern.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's a great concern. I mean, it's if you can have a process in place and procedures, then it makes it much easier to be scalable.
Right.
Because you say, this is the BLR way. This is how we do things. This is our mission, our core values. So you hire from that, you fire from that, and you promote from it,
Yeah.
But really everything has to align with what your vision is.
Setup. We took a $300,000. There's different structures we're going to talk about, such as payroll. This is one of the companies that they own out of the 9 different companies, and share services on a brand new company that's barely struggling to make it would go in the negative, right?
Then, of course.
And that's where it is. So negative, we came out of the year negative 260,000 last year. Understandable why. And that's kind of why we knew where the issues were. Payroll were one, right? Overhead, because we're going to talk about, is my office. In order, if I want the brand, I have to rent an office space from them. But my office space is $3,000. for a cubby hole that, you know what I'm saying? And then there were some different understandings I have. I have to have the brother in the company. I had payroll. I had to have the cousin in the payroll and the daughter in the payroll, and then I'm paying her. So long story short, let's just say that there's a disagreement as to how much we lost, right? But we're gonna leave it as is. And I can tell you that on January 1st of this year, my first 12 months after, we kind of, well, actually it was March, because it took, somehow, some way I kept on paying for stuff that I had no idea I was paying for. And because they control the purse strings, okay, it was coming out of my account. Long story short, we made a decision to buy the company. We made a decision to say we need to separate.
Yeah.
If I owe it, I owe it. Therefore, there's separation of whatever umbrellas you have versus what I'm going to purchase, because I'm not going to be responsible for the sister, the brother, the cousin, the nephew, and you under my payroll. So March, we started out, and it took me 60 days to really get all the little, because it was taxing, my friend. It was, man.
Man, of course. I mean, I'm not laughing, other than I mean, you're making me think of the first year that I was in business, and I literally had the whole business, every receipt, every expense, every bill. I had it in a metal Star Wars lunchbox in freezer bags, right? Like that was the jam. And I still have that lunchbox, and it's still in my closet, because I look at that thing every once in a while when I got to pay taxes, and I think, like, I had absolutely no idea what I was getting into at the time. Like, it was just money in. Hey, that feels awesome. But if you were to ask me, did you really have a game plan for your business? It's like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, no. Yeah. I knew I had a little bit more money this month than last month, but I literally still have that lunchbox. And I keep it as a reminder of, like, and by the way, it's not even 12 months. It's like 7 months with like half the months from missing. You're like, dude, how did I live through that first year of business? And I was like, that's just the way it is, right? You're just like, holy smokes, what did I just do?
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, I ran my numbers over the weekend because in anticipation of this conversation.
Yeah.
And I'll share with you one of the things that I am. So, and we're going to talk about this, where my accounting, remember, because of them, because of them, their accounting, theirs, and I say theirs because ours will change when we take over.
Of course.
Their accounting is cash-based accounting.
Okay.
And that works great if you're a retail store. That's what's great if you have an establishment.
Yeah.
But we are a service provider, so we need accrual-based, because in cash-based accounting, I don't take into consideration accounts receivables. Right, so there's been well, she's correct and I'm correct, but we're talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. They're both accurate in their own rights.
Yes. So that's so in essence, we're looking at our P&L, and I share our P&Ls with you. Is we're negative 146 for the year, right? That's what it shows. So my P&L, it shows 146, and of course the conversation is always, we're losing 146,000, but looking into it, right? We took a $92,000 PPP loan, right? That it's shown as an expense right now, but realistically, it's going to be gone. So that's 90, and then I have 150,000 in accounts receivables that is not accrued.
Yeah,
that's kind of where we are, right? So and that's something that we're going to set up. Accounts, so it's going to be accrual-based accounting, where we're still responsible for, but you got to take into consideration. I'm going to get, 80% on my. Anyways, fine. I'll get into it. Sorry, bro.
No, I got it, man. I got it.
So to answer the question is this: I will disclose it to the investors. Let them know that we were selected for this.
I just want to make sure that everybody who's got skin in the game is aware of what we're doing, because a lot of the work going forward is gonna, with your, of course, approval and blessing, your team's approval and blessing, will be some systemic stuff, right? And I just don't want anybody to get surprised or get busted, for lack of a better word. So, anyways, let's talk about, let's shift gears. That's awesome information. let's shift gears a little bit about your perspective on cash, right? There's lots of different ways to improve your cash flow. And then we have experts and we have people with a lot of experience in doing this that are going to help you guys. But I'd like to get your feedback or your opinion a little bit about what will have, from your standpoint, the greatest positive impact on cash the fastest.
This is why I'm intrigued, my friend.
Yes.
98% of my AR, my accounts receivables, okay,
Yeah.
is property management, apartments, warranty companies, and construction.
Okay.
98% of my AR is there. Okay.
Well, that's the answer, right?
Yeah. So how do I get positive cash flow right away? AOR. What are my opportunities with AOR? No branding, no brand recognition, because I'm brand new and in the current mindset of my company, and I say that because of the influences I have.
Yeah.
No branding recognition yet. We're not advertising, meaning somebody, something, somewhere, and then limited Facebook and social media, right? So I think that's kind of where. So if to answer that question, and let me plug in my. Man, I'm telling you, man, I spent 3 hours with these guys on Saturday and Sunday to go over and get their opinions. To answer the question, what is cash flow? My definition of cash flow is my ability to pay my bills, pay my people, and then I like to have a Coke once in a while.
Couldn't hurt.
I don't think that's asking for too much.
So your business right now is primarily coming from, like you said, property management. What were the other two sources?
Property management, apartments, warranty companies, and construction. That's basically where I'm coming from.
What?
So everything, yeah.
If you take a look at warranty, what are your margins on a warranty project, roughly speaking?
In one of the mistakes we made, so I don't believe in home warranties. Let's just get that.
And either.
Okay, but due to outside pressures, we decided to try them. In 18 years, man, or in 15 years, he's got 18, I got 15. I've never done home warranties. However, because and I need to stop listening, okay, to the influences, right? But it's hard for me to stop listening until they're no longer there.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, how do you not listen to the guy that pays your bills? You follow? So with that being said, and I share with you, in the month of, let's just take March. My gross sales in March were 120 grand. Okay. I ran 37 calls in the month of March with an average ticket, DFO, demand for opportunity. I did 20 DFOs with an average ticket of 3,200. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
April, I ran 50 calls. So I went from 30 to 50, right? With my gross monthly sales were 106 and my average ticket of 1998. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I'm all right. Then what I did, I decided to have this great, we're gonna kick butt. We went from literally 50 calls in April to 150 calls in May. Okay, my sales in April were 105. My sales in May were 115 or 111. So it really didn't grow, but I ran 150 service calls. Okay, my average ticket went to 850.
What'd you do?
Home warranties.
That's all it. That's it. Okay. Well, there you go.
And then in June, my second highest grossing month ever since I've been open, I ran 387 calls.
Wow.
Okay. With an average, so I went from 111 to 150. Okay. But my average ticket was 949, under 1,000. So I stopped. I go, yo, I can't do this.
Yeah.
No way. So then we went back to July, where we did July. We did a total of 180 but then we only ran 96 calls. So we went from 300 to 100, and then my average ticket became 1620. So we're going on the opposite way. So you mentioned, how do I get cash flow into the company? AOR. And not even AOR. Let's concentrate on service.
Just not do warranty calls.
That's it, man. That's it. And that was the biggest thing, where it's not we were busy. We were stupid busy
Yeah.
for the amount of stuff. We were controlled, but I can see when I go from 50 to 300, and I'm still going, wait a minute, my overhead, my purchases, my payroll quadruple, right?
Yeah.
And that's where my money is, where it's still tied into the accounts receivables, right?
Yep.
So how do I get out of my hole? AOR. How do I get out of my whole service? Because he's got a program where we take our service calls and then we literally, our average on AOR, what we call our flips, right?
Yeah.
He's averaging 68%, 68% close rate.
What's the program?
The what?
What's the program?
Flips. We call it a flip. Our goal is to go from maintenance to modernization.
Yeah.
Okay. To take you from here you are to where we need to be. And every one of his technicians, we do third party validation on every one of his calls. And then he's the one that sets around so he can walk a customer from everything. So we have a process and it's working. It's just I lost focus for 2 months, dude. Yeah. And that's so we identified as to what. So my opportunity and cash flow can be solved. I see, simple. AOR. And in Pacific, forget the AOR, is the service aspect. Because his team is actually, they're pretty good, man. I'm excited. And we have a mix of senior guys, we have a mix of junior guys.
Yeah. So do you lose money on warranty work?
Not now. One of the greatest things that happen is because of the exposure. You got to make lemonade out of lemons, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We had 3, and 2 of them were just, dude, garbage.
Mm-hmm.
But they were giving us the most amount of work.
Yeah.
We kept one that I'm making, instead of making 78 gross on my service, I make 52 gross on my service. But what it's done, it's also brought in additional property management companies that instead of making 70 gross, I'm making 50 gross. And that's kind of what it is. My opportunity is that home warranties and property management are not liable for my flips, which is where we make our money. And that's kind of what's going on. So my opportunity lies on that.
Okay, cool. So it seems like there's a little bit, I mean, at least at an instinctual level, you know where you make your money, right? And if you had to walk away and from warranty and put the people and to put the resources, put the money and the emphasis on AOR, although it may feel somewhat insecure right now, right? Because I mean, it's funny what you get used to. How do you feel about that?
The program that he has on top of what we deliver and on top of the, we're not a service company. And unfortunately, you know what I mean?
I love this conversation. I want to kind of preempt my next question with something. You know what drives me crazy about business growth? And my company's basically just me, right? My fortunate affiliation with Goodman has been wonderful, and I've been in the game for a long time. You guys have a team, so your scale is slightly larger. But what always drives me absolutely crazy is this idea that the only way you can grow, either forward or vertically or horizontally into a new segment and then forward, has got to include some like massive expense, right? That you've got to just like I feel like I've had so many conversations over the years, not like this, but in my own company, where you get a phone call from a solicitor and they say, hey, where do you want your business to grow? And you say X. And then the automatic reply is buy our service, right? And you're thinking, yo, man, like I'm a year in business. I don't have 2 nickels to rub together, my friend. So I love the idea of what you're saying, but if I sell my car, I might be able to like buy a little bit of what you're offering, but like brass tacks, dude, I can't do it. And, you know, you get there. I think we all will get there eventually, but to me, it makes me think of like one really important question. And that question in particular is, AOR is where the money's at. You know it. I know it. LJ, you know it. What if we didn't have the internet? What if you didn't have any of these expensive ancillary things? How did HVAC companies grow before Google? You know, and a lot of our friends over the years grew huge companies and focused on that segment without having to write big checks every single month for services that are not particularly guaranteed because everybody says they got it figured out. And the answer is you focused on the individual relationships, what you're talking about, right? You built such amazing relationships with your individual clients that they voluntarily passed the name into their networks. And it didn't matter what that was, right? It could be guys they go to church with, could be, you know, ladies who are taking their kids to school, hanging out in the parking lot after they drop their girls and boys off. Didn't matter. But you had to focus so intensely on that kind of one-to-one relationship because you didn't have any other option. And ironically, it's also the most cost-effective thing you can do. You know what I mean? Like if you didn't have a huge war chest for your marketing and advertising, but you know that AOR is where it's at, you'd practice those like Rocky Balboa street tactics, and you look for every single way you could to overserve your customers. And in the process of overserving those customers, and we can absolutely talk about that, what you would do would build a loyal cadre, right? I mean, you would win business one person at a time.
VIP memberships.
Whatever it is. But I still think there's so much power in that. And there are so many people that look for the silver bullet. That we want to stop doing warranty under these circumstances. We want to be an AOR under these circumstances. But in the HVAC industry today, the only way that people tell you can make that transition is to try and optimize your site to the point that it's going to own a city, or that, right. Or you got to have 50 million maintenance agreements to own a city. But I'm kind of treating this particular conversation as a startup conversation, right? And I think that boots on the ground street fighting mentality is something that we've all lost in lots of different ways. At some point, obviously, you talk to a Gettles or whatever, you got to have a huge tricked out website. It's not a choice, right? But if you're trying to bring as much money in as possible with great people, you're sitting on a database. So why treat that as a dormant enterprise? You know, I have a client in Kettle Falls, Idaho. It's a family-run business. It's 102 years old. You go upstairs into the attic of this company, and they've got like literally a century worth of invoices. It's they got invoices going back to like the 1910s. Wow. They look like they were written with a feather, fountain pen, weird stuff like that, right? And then you ask the guy that owns the company, how many of these are still active? And he says, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. He's sitting on millions of dollars worth of opportunity. Wow. So as we start to kind of formulate a strategy that's a cost-effective strategy that gets you guys what you want, I think the idea of optimizing the customer experience has got to be a cornerstone of what you stand for. I mean, obviously it is a cornerstone of what you stand for, but how we can get that to be scalable across all the different points that you guys interact with customers in is going to be a huge part of this stuff. You know,
what's going to set you apart? You
yeah.
got to be different.
Yeah. Well, and what's going to motivate people to talk about you?
Yeah. So true.
Right. We talked at the beginning about outside interests. Clearly, it seems like, to me at least, the focus of making money has almost accidentally been in places that aren't in the best interest of your goals. It seems like the ways in which you guys have been going to business, and you just shared the numbers with me, you've seen months where your focus has been not where you want to be, right? And it's hurt the company financially.
let me answer that question this way.
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned boots on the ground. So
Yep.
one of the things that we need to talk about is little brother. So we're all Leos. Okay. Grandfather's Leo. My dad's Leo. I'm the oldest. I'm Leo. He's Leo. And baby brother's Leo. It is
A lot of
what it is.
Leos.
It is, right? The reason why I share it is because little brother Leo is he's a politician, right? He's a politician. Call it another. He has a nonprofit. And one of the things that he's successful in is, I believe in it, and you just mentioned it, it's called canvassing. This world doesn't pertain for that, but last year, we implemented a canvassing campaign where literally we had 4 people, and we had 4 corners, right? 8 different zip codes at any given time. We're knocking on doors and dropping ours. In May, back we were open 2 months, we had our biggest month, right, at 130,000 for being brand new.
Yeah, that's great.
Long story short, in July, when I'm accustomed to between May and September, nobody talks about anything else except sales.
Yeah.
Getting money in the company. Okay. What happened to me in July of last year, where we had great success, the investors came in and said, you're spending too much money on payroll. Cut it. So because we weren't strong enough, right? And how do you not listen to the person that pays your bills?
Absolutely.
I stopped what was succeeding and creating that momentum. This year, I'll answer it this way. Where I saw we were making 100,000, we were making positive 15, positive net 20s. The investor then makes a recommendation to go for home warranties.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost focus of what's my core, which is my AOR, my flips, my boutique.
Yeah.
So what's happening to me is this, is when a comment is made by the investor, it creates ripples and I lose containment of the company. And then we're focused on trying to get containment back in instead of the focus. Look, our job is simple. 3 things. You need sales, you need production, and you need an admin. Without sales, it doesn't matter what else I do, right? Production, we're blessed. We have. The admins, now we're blessed that we have the 2 young ladies that work with us, his wife and mine. So we have the 3-legged stool. But what's happening to me is I lose containment. Not willingly, meaning this is not what you're going to do, but because of I hate to say it, respect, because they are who they are, I lose containment. And then squirrel, we focus over here versus it's not hard, dude. It really isn't hard. But it's been taxing for that particular reason. So then this 2 summers in a row that happens to me, it's not going to happen a third one.
What you shared with me, what you both shared with me this afternoon is going to make a huge difference in who gets involved at this point. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. I'll follow up with you and we can get our next meeting on the books.
All right, brother. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call.
Have a good afternoon, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Did you watch any of the Thriving the New Normal programs, Kevin?
I think I did see a few of those.
All right. So I don't know if I was on those calls or not, because I wasn't on all of them, but I'm one of the business coaches that Goodman has partnered up with to do some things that are kind of exciting. Did Peggy talk to you at all, or did you look at this accelerated HVAC success program?
I did, and I looked at some of the things. I think we took an application on it, and we actually did that application and kind of went through it. And it looks like there's a lot of things to offer. I'm kind of starting off new in the world of residential HVACR sales. Well, HVAC sales. I'm an HVACR guy, commercial cooking equipment, and I'm having a lot of fun learning it. But we actually, for our sales on our service side, we're using a company called The New Flat Rate, and it's been really good and effective as far as that standard and procedure goes. But equipment sales, that kind of stuff like that, we're really having some issues with. Marketing budgets we're having issues with. I have to right now at this point, I got to drop around $2,000 a month just to get 30 calls from SCM on residential, which on commercial, it's quite the opposite. So, we're figuring things out, man.
It's very cool. Well, due to the fact that you're associated with the other guy on this call, I have the good fortune of letting you know that you're one of 6 contractors in the country that has qualified for this program.
Oh, wow. No, that's awesome.
That's more than awesome.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And we're not gonna get to where we're cussing on this thing, but it's a big effing deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah, dude.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is a cool thing. So here's what's happening, man. This thing is going to be an interesting program. What we're doing with this is there are 6 contractors that have been selected. As I just mentioned, you are the representative for the Southeast. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
And the team that will be involved in this accelerated HVAC success program includes Brad. So Brad's going to be a point person to help kind of orchestrate things. I'm going to be your primary coach, and I actually work full-time with National Comfort Institute. So here's where we're going to go with this thing. Number one, you have to say, yes, I am very excited and willing to participate in the accelerated HVAC success program.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. I'm excited. Like I didn't really understand like how big of an impact that was, and to be 6 out of the country is an honor. And I'll give it 150%, and dedicate the time and sacrifice to do it, to my ability, because I want to see you guys brag about my company from where we end up through the end of this. And I know my capabilities, and I can do it. I know that for a fact I can. And it's just a matter of knowledge and understanding on how to get from point A to Z, at least get to M or N, So, yeah, man, thanks, David and Brad. I really appreciate this opportunity. And absolutely, dude, I'm here. Let's do it.
When you think about the business functions within your company that are the greatest challenges for you personally, I mean, what do you see as your biggest challenges? What are the things that I'll just say you hate doing the most first? What are the things you hate doing the most?
The things I hate doing the most, I think right now, are dealing with employees and their drama, their personalities, and trying to be a people coach on top of I'm trying to be a high impact leader with low impact people. And so now I'm trying to learn how to re-inspire these people that are low impact to be high impact, and trying to find the right personalities. My wife is doing our HR right now. She used to do HR for UPS. So she's really good at it. And, even she said, this is like the hardest business I've ever had to find people for and hire for. And I used to work with a recruiter that worked for like Superior and for a lot of the bigger companies around Atlanta. Yep. And even she was like, man, Kevin, this is difficult to hire for. And it's because I'm doing so much. Not everybody's me. Not everybody started doing this stuff since they were 14 and can repipe something or do electrical and mechanical. And so I'm trying to figure out how to specialize different departments, but we don't have enough different jobs on the schedule to specialize. And my number one complaint about my business is owning my business is employees. That would be the first and foremost, because that is the end or the beginning of every problem or solution, in my own opinion. And I haven't worked with many people that I've been too impressed by. If they have the skill sets, they have distractions, and if they have distractions, they can't get the skill sets. And that's one of my bigger problems right now. So,
all right. Yep. And so it's good that you have someone on your team who you also happen to be married to. I assume you like her a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a good thing. So it's good that you have somebody with HR background.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wonderful thing. That's a whole lot. That's a major step ahead compared to most businesses. But currently, do you have a good definition of what your ultimate service tech or installer or maintenance tech? Do you have a good definition of what that person looks like, sounds like, smells like, acts like? Do you have that in writing?
I believe we do. I could probably be a little bit more specific. I think most of it's been verbally communicated, but I do have a job description written out. And I think right now I'm looking for someone that can come in and really quote systems, go out and sell the products, because it's hard for me to step away and do that because my phone's ringing nonstop. And if I don't answer it, sometimes a fire is created. Right. And I really want to hire somebody that could be a technician and then also go out and sell the product and really focus on it, because I'm getting a lot of like opportunity right now with residential HVAC. I'm really surprised how fast it's coming along. But I don't have the time to go out and spend the time with these customers and to earn the relationship and to build that. So I think my next position, in my own opinion, which I could be wrong, is I need a guy that can go out and sell and then maybe lead the install projects.
Yeah. And those will be some of the things that we look at is, how is your current staffing set up? I mean, according to the application, you guys have like 7 people total. Plus you got a independent contractor that you use, I guess, on projects.
Yeah. He's like my sub crew installer right now, and he's doing great. He's awesome. Sometimes he'll slack and not show up, but when he does, he's really good, and he does a really good job installing. So the people side is always an important thing. I'm going to be meeting with the team tomorrow, and I have to present to them a brief report on my feelings about what I have experienced in my first call with you, and it's going to be all really, really good. You said a lot of right things. Okay, Mr. Akama and Goodman, everybody involved with the Accelerated HVAC Success Program. This is Kevin Newman with Top Tech Mechanical. We are excited to be here. We look forward to learning. We look forward to getting better and growing to help better both the Goodman product and to inspire its brand in the Atlanta area, and therefore accelerating my company to success.
Give just a real brief explanation of kind of where you are, where you've been, and where you see yourself going. So definitely the commercial refrigeration side and all that, and why you're transitioning to residential. What events have led you to come to the decision of going to the residential side?
So this is Kevin Newman with Top Tech Mechanical. We have chosen to take part in the residential business. Through COVID-19, through the shutdown, 95% of our restaurants got shut down. We were out of work for weeks and weeks on end. I had to make some decisions. I basically had to adapt or die at that point. I started doing a little bit of residential service, started liking it more and more. I appreciate the industry. I'm excited about getting more and more involved with it, and even help better it at the end. And we're excited to be a part of it.
I've known Kevin Newman for a few years now. I haven't been able to work with him as closely as now, based on what he said previously with his participation in commercial refrigeration. That was not something that we could really benefit from on a business partnership standpoint until the COVID-19 outbreaks occurred with the shutdown of restaurants and like you said, 95% of his business. So when we connected again, I was always motivated and excited to work with him, and that was the best time as he was jumping headfirst in the hour replacement, which I love working with and working through with our contractors who represent Goodman. And I told him from the beginning, I said, hey, listen, I'm in this just for a true partnership, because what I give you is going to be my all for not just myself, but through Goodman's partnership and the tools that we have for contractors to succeed. I mean, dealer first is our mentality. And after working with Kevin for a few months, I knew that he was determined and motivated and ambitious like myself to succeed. And those are the partnerships that I was looking for. And when this opportunity came up with the accelerated program, I knew that Kevin was the best option that we had.
When COVID happened, I mean, I was just in almost tears, man. My business was sinking. And I called Brad on my back porch and just reached out to him. And he's like, dude, I got your back, man, if you're ready to go. I remember we had that conversation years and years ago when you were doing commercial refrigeration, but you didn't want to play ball with the residential sector. And we had a meeting. I think it was down off of Barrett Parkway somewhere. I think our Bobby introduced us. And since that moment, Brad's been there for me, man. He's been helping me out, and I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for this man. So I appreciate you for that, Brad.
Thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, and it is a relationship, man. It's one of the things that I love about our industry is it is a people business. Again, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, me too, guys. I'm thankful, excited, and I'll be prepared. We'll make it happen.
Today's the start of a huge opportunity and journey. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this all plays out and unfolds.
Going to be cool.
So I'm here with Kenny Schultz. Kenny has been nominated or has applied and been nominated and accepted for our accelerator program. So Kenny, welcome. You're in Minnesota, is that correct?
Yes.
And are you in the Twin Cities?
Yeah, we're just southwest of Minneapolis, St. Paul.
So let me ask you, when did you start your business?
Centrair's been around since 1967.
And when did you specifically take it over?
I took over about 5 years ago.
Okay, all right. And why did you go into business for yourself?
Good question. I guess I've always wanted, I've always had the drive and the ambition to run my own organization, run my own crew. The opportunity here at Centrair came up. I was kind of in a management role before the ownership role came up, and I decided to take it. And so,
awesome. So, now were you working with Centrair before that, or at another company?
I was working with them for a couple years before that. Previous to Centrair, I had another company also, heating and air conditioning company.
Okay. And what are your, for lack of a better term, what are your dreams or your goals for the company?
Currently, our goals, currently we're about a $14 million company between all the organizations. My goals, I'd like to be up to about 20 million. And a big part of that is I want to grow in the residential side of it, where I feel we're missing a big side of that side of the company, I guess you'd say.
No, absolutely. No, that's fantastic. Hopefully we can help you do that. And let me ask you, like right now, what do you think's preventing you from accomplishing that goal?
Right now, I think what's the biggest hurdle we're having is generating the opportunities, generating the service calls, and then capitalizing on them. And what I mean by that is the sales of them. I think we're missing the sales, whether it's my sales staff or my service techs. We're missing the sales part of it. We're in too much of a fix-it mode, I guess you'd say. I feel we are. So
well, let me tell you, I think you've came to the right place because we've got between us, EGIA, and our 5 other partners, we're going to be able to help you with that. That's probably right in our wheelhouse, and we'll be able to help you.
Yep.
And I know it's I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited for you. So, thank you, Kenny. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.